Another minute.
There we go, it's better. Yeah, it's getting almost dark here.
Oh my gosh, wow.
It's 5 o'clock.
Okay, so let me share my screen here. All right, and we're live here. It's loading. Zoom was a little funky today when I tried to get back on here. All righty, sounds super. So Al, are there any questions in particular that you might have? Let's start off with that, and then we can kind of go into more of the deep dive into more about these patches. And there's some updates that I think you'll find refreshing to see here in this presentation.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to the presentation, but also about I guess signing people up.
Okay. Yeah. So for
Know how
people
to do
yeah.
YouTube videos, I need to watch the videos.
Say that again.
I said I know there's YouTube videos on there. I need to sit down and watch the videos.
Okay. And I can send you a video on how to enroll someone in your back office. The wonderful thing about once you get started on these patches, oftentimes we find that there are other people that are interested. We find that there are so many people in pain who have different types of conditions. I just got off the phone with someone right before this broadcast, someone who they have really bad skin cancer and they've had several surgeries. And some of the things, skin grafts aren't working for them. And so that's why they're looking at these patches now. And so as we find people around us who are in pain, who are looking for alternatives to what centralized medicine has to offer, they now can offer and share, this life-saving technology with them. And everyone gets a product introduction bonus who does so. So yeah, so then I'll show you, and that video I'll send you, it'll show you how, I think it's like a 10-minute video. It shows you how to enroll someone in your back office. It's pretty effortless. And I always like to use the Dr. Wholesale form, which I will show here. We'll show it here at the beginning. Why the heck not? There's no reason. There are no rules, right? So this is the Dr. Wholesale pack. This is not obviously no rules. There's no this is obviously not on the website. So anyone who goes to your link would never see this. But on the as we the X39 and the X49, if we just keep it to the two patches to make the math simple, we know that the 39 and the 49, the mother and the daughter patch, are $149 each. And anyone can go ahead and go to your store and they can go to your link or use your member ID and they can all day long order these for $149 a piece. Or if they come directly to you, then you can get them started on a Dr. Wholesale pack. And then now instead of paying $149 each, which would be $450, they would get $50 off. So now that's a 30% savings, right? So now they would get them for $99 each. So that's $299 for either 3 X39s or 2 39s and a 49. Or if they're wanting to get started on the Fantastic Five, we could do 39, 49, glutathione, carnosine, and for like $30 more, then they could get Eon. And then after the second month, it would be $329 a month for the remainder of the year for the balance of the 12 months. For people who are willing to order 3 months in advance, this is usually the Fantastic Five, the gold pack, because you get all 5, glutathione, carnosine, Eon, as well as the mother and the daughter patch. Plus, they give you 3 additional free patches in this gold pack, which is a great value because that's like $300 that you don't pay for, right? So that's $499. And if you do 3 months of the Fantastic Five, that's $1,500 basically. So here in this diamond pack right now, there's a Christmas special, but that's only available through people like yourself or mine. People can't get that directly through the retail site, but the Christmas special, and I'll just show right here. I'll flash this. I'll stop my screen share so it's a little bit larger and people can see it. I probably should create a graphic for this because I took notes to write this all down, but basically they're getting 12 months of the mother stem cell activation patch. This is until 12 months, and then 6 months of the daughter, And then they get glutathione, carnosine, and eon, plus 3 months here of SP6, which is your neurology, digestive system, and hormonal system patch. And that normally would be $2,917.85. But right now it's $1,749.80. So you're saving almost $1,200. It's a big savings. It's 40% savings. And so then, like you would go ahead and take this information down, fill out your doctor wholesale form. And whether you have the form or not, Al, obviously doesn't matter, but you need this information. I have a lot of people who I just text message them the to get started text. And whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, or YouTube, or if they contact me by some other means, it's just the text message that's called to get started, just has questions to ask, the first, the last, the date of birth. We don't need social, by the way. Then their shipping address, city, state, zip, email, mobile, and then their payment information. And then that's it. As soon as they send that, now you can go into your back office and you can enter this information so that people can get this 40% savings. So do you have other questions that are more related to the patches? I just dropped the patches here that are related to the patches.
No, I
having to do more.
I'd just like to learn a little bit more about the patches.
Okay, learn more about the patches. So fantastic. You're at the right place at the right time with the right people, my friend and Jem. By the way, so great seeing you in Orlando at the conference. It was pretty awesome to see you there. All right, so let's talk about these patches. And here we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Five. We are going to be talking about the mother pluripotent cell activation patches, also known as phototherapy or photobiomodulation patches. I sometimes just call these cell activation patches. And let's do our disclaimer because we have a great relationship with the FDA and we want to keep it that way. So these patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease, and we do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. And we strongly recommend you consult with your doctor, because we're not your doctors. You consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. This is intended for human use only. However, I have many, many, many patients who do, in fact, take their patches, whether they're new patches or used patches, and they put them on their dogs, their cats, their horses. Horses, usually they're brand new patches because they're very large animals, of course, with incredible, astonishing results. I've seen probably hundreds, literally hundreds now at this point, of dogs who used to have cataracts who don't have them anymore. Dogs who couldn't walk because they had hip issues, from tiny little Malteses and Yorkie Terriers to like large Great Danes who now are running around like puppies. An 18-year-old cat that could not move then started running around like a tomcat. It was pretty impressive. So they are not intended for human. They're intended only for human use, but that's not to say you have a choice what you give, just like you give to your kids, what you give your animals, whether you give them dog food or table scraps, or some people cook. I know plenty of people that cook for their animals, so that's up to you. Also, I want to talk about, before we move forward, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has had some changes recently. So the FDA has taken the position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will now be regarded as a drug claim. And the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So in the past, we were able to say all sorts of things. I will let you know throughout the rest of this hour what things we used to say and what we can no longer say as a result. We can't say that, although we have clinical studies that show that. We, in fact, have 90 clinical studies that were done in the United States, Europe, and Asia. So we can't say that phototherapy actually turns on GHKCU, even though we have studies that actually prove that, and so much more. So we will move on to share with you what the genesis, what was the root, what was the beginning, what was the seedling that made this technology possible. And if we go back to 1973, Dr. Lauren Picard discovered that, and this has nothing to do, Lauren Picard's discovery in 1973 has nothing to do with this activation patch, in the sense that he was simply a scientist that was doing his research, looking at reverse aging and anti-aging, and looking at the neurobiophysiology of the human body, and looking at what things would react to certain things that he could actually control in a lab environment. And in 1973, he discovered that GHKCU copper peptide activated 33%, 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. So that brings us, and also it's good to note that he actually won a Nobel Prize for this discovery because it was groundbreaking. Since 1973, there's over 2,000 studies that you can find at NLH, NIH, PubMed, Google Scholar that has replicated this discovery. Over 2,000 studies that show that GHKCU copper peptide actually activates 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells. So this must have been bouncing around in David Schmidt's head. David Schmidt is the scientist who actually was contracted through the Department of Defense to create and invent all sorts of things for the Department of Defense. And about 23 years ago, they approached David and said, hey, David, listen, would you be able to invent something to enhance the energy of our Navy SEALs? Because right now they use amphetamines, uppers, and energy drinks, and that works. But when the effects wear out, it's very hard on their bodies because they crash. They're the first line of defense. We can't have that happening. And
So
David,
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So it says it activates 1/3. Is that all like at the beginning, or is that over the lifetime, or is that only 1/3 and that's it?
So it's 1/3. So what happens is you at conception, that's something that I'm going to be sharing here. At conception, you have your mother's ovum and your father's sperm that unite. At conception, you now have complete information, because the ovum by itself cannot create an embryo, neither can a sperm. But once you have conception, the moment you have conception, you now have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells. Then you have this rapid multiplication of cells that starts at conception, so that 6 to 8 weeks later, you actually have an embryo that has formed in the mother's womb. If you fast forward 30, if you fast forward to 36 to 40 weeks, now you have a full grown fetus that then turns into a newborn baby. And you fast forward to 30 years of age, and by the time you're 30, 50% of your stem cells turn off, not because they're damaged, destroyed, or they disappear. It's simply they go dormant. So now when you put this stem cell activation patch on, 1/3 of the previously dormant stem cells get activated. So you have the previously dormant stem cells that get activated, and then some new ones actually get turned on and activated as a result of this particular, because of the patches, because of the technology in the patches. Okay. Did I answer your question?
So I guess, so if you have, I don't know, 1,000 stem cells.
So, well, you have almost 24,000, 23,000.
Right. I'm just throwing out a number. I'm just throwing out a number to make the math easy.
Mm-hmm.
So at 60, like most of my stem cells are turned off, right?
Yeah, you have 10% left at 6 years of age, approximately.
So that means that now I have 900 that are off. So does it only turn on 300, and that's all it's going to ever turn on?
So you're going to have about 33 out of the thousand. You started off with a 1,000, let's say, because you use the number of 1,000. So when you are at 60 years of age, you'll only have 100 left. But when you put the patch on, now you're going to have 333 stem cells on top of the 10 that you had. So now you're going to have 433 stem cells that will work. Almost half are going to get turned back on, because you have 33 plus the 10 that you had prior. So now you have 43 or 430 that are going to be actively repairing instead of only having 100. You can see the difference between 430 versus 100 is kind of a big difference. You're almost at the stage of where you were when you were 30 years old, because at 30 you had 50% and now you're at 43.
So my question is, how long does it take to turn those on? A year, 2 years, 5 years?
No, the moment the patch touches your skin, you have 33% of your previously dormant stem cells are on.
Okay, so when I take the patch off, put a new patch on, is it going to do another 33%? Since the other ones are already turned back on.
So if you have, let's say, the Fantastic Five, we're going to use this as an example. Take energy enhancer out, 30 and 49. Okay, so I have the Fantastic Five. Just for argument's sake, let's just say we have someone else that just joined us. So for argument's sake, we're going to say we have 39, we have 49, we have glutathione, carnosine, and eon, okay?
Okay.
We're going to take ice wave out. Let's just say, because you're asking, I think, a very great question. I think a lot of people are curious, and I haven't had anybody actually ask this as specifically as you, so I think this is a great teaching point. Let's say that instead of wearing the Fantastic Five all in a row as morning patches from 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 5 a.m., whatever your start time is, the point is you're going to wear it for 12 hours. So let's just say 9 a.m. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., you can wear all of these patches. And then at 9 p.m., you remove the patches, take them off, discard them. And now for the 12 hours, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you will allow for the rest, repair, and restore cycle. And then the next morning, you put them back on again. So technically, when you remove the patch on, the activation of those 33% of those stem cells are technically not on anymore because you don't have that little solar panel that's redirecting the infrared light into your body to signal a third of your previously dormant stem cells to be on. Okay. But you're allowing for the rest, repair, and restore cycle because a lot of energy has been going on your body for 12 hours. Now you need to allow the rest, repair, and restore. Let's say that you divided it up and you wear X39 and 49 in the morning from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and at night. And some people, it's recommended for them to do this, especially people who have a lot of pain. And now from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you wear glutathione, carnosine, and eon. Well, you're going to have your stem cells on different types of stem cells, but you're going to have nonetheless that activation 24 hours. It's just different things are signaled. So what these were signaling, the mother and the daughter stem cell activation, that was signaled during the day. Now this is going to rest for 12 hours. Now you're going to signal these stem cell activations for glutathione, carnosine, and eon from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So someone who does that is going to have 24 hours. They're different stem cells, but it's going to be in the tune of 33. It's just that you're dividing it up. Instead of doing it all at once for 12 hours, you're doing 12 hours each. You can do that. And for people who have really severe pain, that is oftentimes recommended. Not always, but it's all situational. It's case by case per person, depending what's going on with them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And so that's why if you have people who have either severe pain or have some people have full body pain where they have multiple issues going on. They might have a rotator cuff injury that's, bothering them now that maybe the doctor's saying you might need to have rotator cuff surgery. Maybe they also have fibromyalgia, and maybe they also have either diabetes and we're not making any medical claims. My point is that they have multiple things going on in their body. So they have a lot of pain, not just in one spot, but they have maybe, from the rheumatoid arthritis, their knee is bothering them. And, maybe the rotator cuff is not rheumatoid arthritis. It's like an old car accident that they had. Plus they have these other medical conditions kind of going on. These are general wellness patches. They're not for a medical condition. We don't have a diabetic patch. We don't have a Parkinson's patch or a patch for MS or a patch for anything, These take care of the primary systems of the body. This combination of patches takes care of the primary systems of the body. These are general wellness products. So when you activate your collagen. As you see, when we go over the different bullet points, you're going to see what each patch activates, what it's doing to your body. We know this because we have research studies that confirm it and show in our subjects, the average was about 50 subjects per study. And we show that in 30 days, 60 days, really significant changes in the different organs of the body, which resulted in whatever symptom the person was manifesting, including pain, it disappears. Some people, their pain disappears in the first few minutes, especially if they are also wearing Ice Wave. Some people, it takes a day, a week, a month. I've known people it took 7 or 8 months for all of the pain to go away. Everybody's different. Some people only have one thing going on. Other people have a multitude of things going on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. We'll go back to the presentation here. Moving on.
Who else joined?
We have Leola. Leola, thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, let us know. We'll answer them as we go along. So this is great to have you, Leola. Okay, so we're going to go on. And so these patches were created as a result of this discovery by Dr. Lauren Picard, Nobel Prize winner back in 1973. So this brings us to the question about what are stem cells, and stem cells are simply pluripotent cells. A lot of people have never heard the word pluripotent before. Most people don't talk about stem cells on a daily basis, so let me explain to you what that is. Pluri means plural, as you can see here. Potent means potential. So it's just letting you know that there's many potentials for a stem cell. And so when at mother's, when your mother's ovum and father's sperm united at conception, now you have almost 24,000 stem cells that are there along with 24,000 DNA, 23,688 to be exact, that are going to begin this rapid regenerative process to form you in your mother's womb. But you have all of your blueprint, all of your information is right there handy for you at the time of conception, and it stays with you for the remainder of your lifetime. Those stem cells, however, as I mentioned before, some of them do in fact turn off. And let me share with you here. This is showing you at conception how you have the unification of the sperm unites with the mother's ovum, right? We talked about how 50% of them turn off by the time you're only 30 years old. So a 30-year-old only has 50% of their stem cells left. And that's why when you see people that are over 50 and 60, you see a much more rapid aging process that takes place, because it's rapidly declining from 50% to now you have 90% that have turned off. You have only 10% of your stem cells by the time you reach 60. So if you look at the human body and think of your body as a house, and I do like to think of the human body as a house because it is our temporary housing unit, right? You will notice that inside your body, you have these pluripotent cells. And those stem cells are like printer ink cartridges. When you have a printer, doesn't matter if it's a brand new printer or if your printer is, 2-3 years old, you have ink cartridges. And when you have 100% of an ink cartridge, those ink cartridges are similar to your stem cells. When it goes to make a copy, color or black and white, with 100% of the ink, you can't tell the difference between the copy and the original, right? However, when you've used up 70, 80, 90% of the ink in that ink cartridge, now the copy is a faded version of the original. Kind of a big difference, right? Same thing is true with your stem cells. When you only have 30, 20, 10% left of your stem cells, the cell replication is a much lighter version. It's not a crisp copy because you have less workers, less stem cells that are actually replicating those cells. I also like to equate it as to, if you think about hiring a contractor to come in and do a remodeling job, because that's what your stem cells are. They're like little construction workers that are remodeling you on the inside, outside, top to bottom, front to back, inside, outside, all around, right? If you hire contractor A and he shows up, he goes to bid the job, he has 10 guys on his crew to repair the ceilings, the floor, the plumbing, gut the kitchen, replace the kitchen, remodel the kitchen, the bathrooms, walls, paint, you name it, roof, stucco on the outside, whatever your siding is. It's going to take that guy 7 years to do this massive remodeling job because it's an entire remodeling job. But now you have contractor B, the better contractor, and he shows up with, instead of showing up with 10 guys, he shows up with 43. He has 33% more than the first guy. So now with 43% or 43 men and a crew to do all this replacing and restoring inside and outside of your house or your body, he's going to get the job done more quickly and more efficiently because he's got 43 guys instead of just 10. He can afford the time to take more attention to detail. Plus, he has a lot more horsepower, right? So instead of it taking 7 years, guess what? He can get the job done in less than 12 months because he's got 43 instead of just 10. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's look at how do the patches work, okay? And so again, in the past, just recently, the FDA no longer wants us to say that the patches, which are using photobiomodulation, which is wearable light technology, it's a phototherapy patch. We can no longer say that it activates GHKCU copper peptide, that activates the P63 protein in the body, even though we have research studies that actually show that. We used to be able to say that, but we can't say that any longer. So I just want to let people know, want to be completely compliant here. So how do the patches work? So our bodies, everybody, you touch yourself right now, face, legs, wherever you might be, you were to take a thermometer and take your temperature, you would have evidence that you are about 98.6, 98.7. Some of us are a little cooler, some of us run a little hotter, but 98.6, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, right? That is evidence of the infrared light that's inside your body. We are an accumulation of electrons and electrolytes. The electrolytes flow through our bloodstream. Electrons are in every single cell, every single molecule inside of our body, bar none. If I were to wear night vision goggles, and I think the military, I know that the law enforcement and the military uses night vision goggles to see people in the dark. And when they're looking at you in the dark with night vision goggles, that's infrared light that's glowing in the dark. That's how we can see you through those night vision goggles. And that's evidence of that infrared light that's inside of you. And if you were to take a diamond crystal, let's make believe this pearl is a diamond crystal like this one that's showing on the screen here. And if I were to flash a light from a, let's say a flashlight, you would see, you're witnessing how the light bounces off of the crystal and it reflects back to your eyes. So it's showing us all the different colors of the prism, which is inherent to that diamond crystal, right? So the same thing is going to be true with the patches because the crystals here, these are this white little lattice. In fact, this white little lattice, you see that white little circle? Those are tiny little nanotechnology. It's nanotechnology because it's tiny. You can't really see it with the naked eye. You'd actually have to have a magnifying glass to see individual crystals, right? But it's a white crystal lattice. That little white dot is an accumulation and a grid work that is symmetric very carefully. There's a very specific symmetrical pattern and a frequency that those crystals are set to. Those crystals are organic sugar crystals, organic salt crystals, organic hydrogen, oxygen, and water crystals, as well as a proprietary blend of organic amino acids. And those are simply the mechanical structure that is making contact with your skin. They're not being absorbed by the skin, but it's made contact with your skin. As soon as your skin touches it, that infrared light from inside your body bounces off that crystal lattice, and now it signals a third of your previously dormant pluripotent cells to turn back on. And now this rapid repair. Now we were always able to say that before. Now we're not allowed to say that that activation takes place, but that in fact is what's happening. And we have 90 clinical studies to show that. Okay. So let me tell you what else happens. Also, a little side note about phototherapy, because phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for healing effects. And the light wave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials. This is very important. Biochemically, including particulate release, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and the visible spectrum of light. This then stimulates that area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. So variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been little evidence of negative side effects. This suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. This is actually something that I cut out of a research study that was done on X39. If you look in my previous YouTube channel videos, you'll see that I go over the research studies for each one of the Fantastic Five. I show you the study, and then I read it to you, and I break it down into layman's language so that everyone can make sense and ascribe a meaning to what it is that they're learning, okay? So I also want you to notice that these are non-transdermal patches. So what does non-transdermal mean? Non-transdermal. Transdermal, means no, right? Transdermal transfers into the dermis. Dermis is your skin. So nothing transfers into your skin when you wear this phototherapy patch. Cell activation patch. It's non-invasive. So nothing is being absorbed or penetrated into the skin. It's just a mechanical device that reflects back that in your infrared light is being reflected back into your body to create this effect. They're organic because all the crystals are organic, as I mentioned before. They're holistic, FDA-compliant, Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. We manufacture our products at FDA-registered facilities in the United States. We actually have 12 distribution and manufacturing centers in the world because we're available in 81 countries. Our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board, which is the highest authority in the European Union. And we manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. Because again, nothing is being absorbed or nothing is transferring into the body. This is just a mechanical structure to create an effect. And in fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485. That's a quality standard, and that's a direct quote from David Schmidt, the scientist, who was originally commissioned and contracted by the Department of Defense. In fact, Al, I recall you saying that when you were in the Navy back at the time, that you remember hearing about the Navy SEALs using these patches, but they were the only ones who had access to them. Is that right?
Well, I learned about it, yeah, from when I started getting into the field. Yeah, I didn't hear about the Navy SEALs using them when I was in the Navy, because I got out of the Navy in '86.
Okay.
So they weren't using them yet.
Yeah. So this was early 2000. It was 23 years ago when David actually invented the energy enhancer patch for the Navy SEALs.
Yeah. So I was way out of the Navy when they started using them.
Yeah. So the thing that's very important to be aware, and this is whether people decide, I tell people all the time, I go, whether you decide to use the patches or not, just for general health and well-being. If you have any kind of condition in your body, it would behoove you to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water, because this is the genesis of your being able to maintain your body. People who are in the health and fitness industry, health and wellness industry, people who don't have any issues in their body, they know they drink 50% of their weight in fluid ounces, and good quality water is another important factor. But why is drinking water so important? Well, first thing to note is that when you're unhydrated or dehydrated, there's a lot of things in your body that shrinks. I'll leave that to your imagination. No, I wouldn't be that cruel, but you can imagine all the things that shrink in your body. A lot of things that are very undesirable. For example, did you know that your brain shrinks when you're dehydrated? Your brain shrinks. Your brain is very hydrophilic. That means water loving. Hydrophilic is just hydro water philic lover. It loves water. When you're 2% dehydrated, you will feel thirst in your mouth, just 2%. So when you're starting to feel thirsty, that's like a signal. Oh my gosh, you're already way too dehydrated. You should not get to 2% dehydration. You should be drinking water from the time you arise. As soon as you wake up, before you get out of bed, you should be drinking room temperature water. You're going to jumpstart your metabolism, and you're signaling your body a breaking of having fasted from not just eating, but also from hydration. 2%, you feel parched. You feel thirsty in the mouth. 8%, I hope you're sitting down. I hope you're wearing socks, because I'm going to knock them off if you're wearing socks. At 8% dehydration, your DNA starts to unravel. I actually have an image of DNA unraveling at 8%. In fact, let me stop real quick and let me see if I can find it and show it to you real quickly. If I can get this to open.
Why do you hear something? Oh, she's looking something up.
So let me see if I can share this with you guys. Make this a little bit bigger. Open. Okay, I found the image. Here we go. This is 8% dehydration. You go from your DNA looking normal. Here it's literally falling apart. It's unraveling. Very disturbing to think 8% dehydration will do that. And so that makes you aware of the fact that your water is the primary structure that holds up your DNA in your body. That's why it's so important to keep hydrated. At 10% dehydration, you lose your mind, because there's just not enough water in the brain for your brain to work. Because when you're dehydrated, your proteins fold. They're not operational. Can you imagine if you had to walk all day long from the waist down folded with your head at the feet? You wouldn't get very far, right? Most people are lucky to be able to take 1 or 2 steps. So your proteins fold when you're dehydrated. And at 12% dehydration, your body completely shuts down. You're dead. Everybody passes away at 12% because it's a hard shutdown. It's just nothing moves inside the body. You're gone. You're a gone. Literally, you're a goner. So it's very important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Okay. The other thing to note is that you'll be wearing these patches 12 hours on, as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Just as you have a diurnal day where you have daylight from sunrise to sunset, the light signals us for 12 hours. And then from sunset to sunrise, you have another 12 hours. Our bodies, we are Bluetoothed to the sun. Make no mistakes. We're supposed to be in synchronization with the sun. The sun is about 42 to 43% infrared light. Our bodies are all infrared light. Inside and emanates outside of our body. As soon as we're so Bluetooth to the sun, and no one really talks about this much other than people in photobiomodulation circles, people like my mentor, Dr. Jack Kruse, who is a photobiomodulation expert, and he specializes in brain, neck, and spine surgery. And Jack is the first to tell you, you go out into the sun, the moment that infrared light from the sun touches your skin, especially in the morning, right after sunrise, before 10 o'clock in the morning. As soon as you make that skin to skin contact with that sunlight, you immediately have your pulse ox rate goes up. I actually have people who wear pulsometers where they have their pulses measured minute to minute, second to second. And it measures not only their pulse, but also their pulse ox rate, their oxygen levels. And I have one gentleman, I'll never forget, when I first told him, get outside first thing in the morning, before 10 o'clock, after sunrise, and unrobed, have all your skin exposed to the sun, front and back. He said that his pulse ox went from 92 to 97 the moment his skin felt the sunlight.
Wow.
I said, yeah, it's that powerful. It's that instant. Just like the patch, the moment it touches your skin, it activates. Same thing happens with the sun. The sun helps us set circadian rhythms, not just for melatonin and serotonin cycles, but it also helps through the photoreceptors of your skin, because those photoreceptors are like little eyeballs. Those are circadian rhythm clocks that set all the timing cycles for your kidney, your liver, your spleen, pancreas, your digestive system. It sets all the different clocks of all the systems in your body. Pretty amazing. Let me move on here to the next point. So I want to share with you briefly about Dr. John Harmon. When he came to us a couple of years ago, he was suffering from a right bundle branch blockage. And 3 cardiologists confirmed the right bundle branch blockage. They confirmed nothing we can do about this. This is not operable. Surgery is not an option for you. You have to be on heart meds for the remainder of your life. This is going to compromise the longevity of your lifespan because you don't have a good pump. Your electrical wiring is way out of whack here. And he thought to himself, because he himself is a brain specialist, and he was looking at, there's got to be something here on the planet that can fix me. And then the patches came into his experience. He began to wear the patches. And 14 months later, all 3 cardiologists were able to confirm that the right bundle branch blockage disappeared. Took 14 months, but it took place. He started to feel increased energy and started to feel much better in the first 30 to 60 days, had deeper, sounder sleep right off the bat. But it took 14 months for him to have the evidence that his right bundle branch blockage no longer was present in his body. His heart and all of his body was really fairly well restored to the point where he went from having gray hair. This is not just anti-aging, it's reverse aging. He started to grow back his darker hair color. See in his face that also the skin texture. We used to be able to play tic-tac-toe on his forehead. We can't do that anymore. The 3 up vertical lines that was like a 111 on his forehead, he doesn't have that anymore. The horizontal lines, they're gone. You can see the inflammation around his eyes, gone. You can see that he had just a little bit of brown here in his eyebrows. Now he's got full brown eyebrows. He's got fuller eyebrows too. Inflammation gone. You can tell he's just younger looking because your stem cells, your pluripotent cells, they don't care. If you have a damaged cell, their job is to replace it with a new one. So they don't care if it affects your looks or not. If it's going to always give priority and precedence to your heart, to your liver, to your brain, because you need those you can't live without. That's required for you to be alive. But it's also going to replace, we have gray hair because we have oxidative stress. We have wrinkles because we have oxidative stress. Certain things are a result of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is cellular damage. And your pluripotent cells are going to go replace all of that head to toe. Okay, moving on.
Alexa.
Oops, I'm going to mute. If you have a question, we can unmute you, but for right now, we don't need to hear the Alexa commands. Okay, the thing to note also, we talked about how at age 30, 50% of your stem cells turn off. I just wanted you to note that your fibroblasts, when you're only 25 years old, they begin to decline in their production of collagen. We activate the production of collagen with this patch. Collagen is the #1 building block protein for tissue and skin repair in the body. So that is actually signaled with these patches. I want to share with you Barry. Barry is the first person who I patched. This was last June. First person with long haulers. He had been suffering horrible insomnia, could not sleep. Everything he tried, nothing worked. CBD oil, gummies, you name it. He tried all sorts of things with no luck. On top of the insomnia, he would wake up every day with headaches, nausea, low stamina, and really severe fatigue. And it was really weighing on him after 18 months of suffering because he got COVID and then he had long haulers. And so he was really dismayed at, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. And so I told him, I'm like, hey, why don't we try these patches on you and see, let's give it a go. And we started him, he got it in the afternoon. He's in Toronto, Canada. So he received the patches in the afternoon, or I want to say he contacted me like 4 or 5 o'clock, said, hey, I got my patches. Where do I put them? So we started him on, instead of waiting till the morning to put the patches on, 18 months of suffering with headaches, nausea, pain, low stamina, fatigue, and just exhaustion, I said, you need a good night's sleep. So let's get the patches on you. We'll transition you to daytime use later. First 24 hours, I said, make sure you contact me tomorrow so that I know what you're like 24 hours from now. So we put up the patches on that late afternoon. It was early evening for him. The next day around 3 in the afternoon, you'll see 3:41 p.m., he sent me this text message through Facebook, and it says, hey, Lillian, just a note. Don't know if it's a placebo or the stem cell activation patches work that quickly or what. But I had really good sleep, a little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. Today, I'm just on a high. I'm ecstatic. And Gwen sees that in me, and I feel really, really good physically when I awoke this morning. No headache, no nausea. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal day. So thank you, and I'll update you as we go along. All is well. Thanks. Bye. So my friends and gems, I can't tell you the feeling that I had when I knew that my friend Barry, he's a fellow Dr. Joe meditator. He's an advanced meditator. He knows he's meditated 4, 5, 6 hours in a row in a Dr. Joe 7-day week-long event with myself. He knows how to activate his pineal gland and so forth. But it wasn't until this is like a 12-hour meditation. We're signaling the light inside your body. That's what you do when you meditate. Except now you don't have to be oming out or even doing a walking meditation with your eyes open. Still meditate. I still tell people I've never stopped meditating. I think that's something that every human being on the face of this planet should definitely do. But this is activating the light within your body in a whole new other way so that you can move on and do everything that you need to do in your life. And as you have this cellular regeneration that's taking place head to toe, inside and out, now the things that used to be an issue for you disappear because you're reset to your original playbook from when you were conceived in your mother's womb. Really exciting. I'm not going to spend too much time here on Kathy's. We're running out of time here, but I do have an entire video where she accepted my invitation to come on, and she was very camera shy. So she was willing to come on a Zoom and share her entire journey, how she got on the patches because she was suffering from autoimmune disorder from 33 years from 3 breast implants. And it leaked all over her body. And it was a real terrible mess, caused her a great deal of grief, a great deal of pain, and nothing had worked for her either. And lo and behold, she also wanted to, although she didn't really think that the patches could do this for her, her thing is she just wanted to get rid of the autoimmune disorder and just feel good. So we told her, take pictures before you get started on the patches and every 30 days. Luckily, she did that. And she began, it wasn't until October of 2022, a year ago, almost, because it's now December 23, that in October, she posted these pictures. And she did not post her profile picture because she was camera shy at the time. But you can see the radical difference. Now, this is showing what we all can witness by visual inspection on the outside of her body. Again, her bigger story was that the autoimmune symptoms, they all disappeared. She no longer had any of that pain. But the outside was reflecting the big remodeling job that was going on the inside. So look at all the wrinkles that she had January of 2022. She was 62 years old at that time. In March, look at how much less. And in June, she has no wrinkles. She just has a few lines evidencing where some of the wrinkles were before. By July, no wrinkles, no lines. So in October of last year, when she posted this on her Facebook page, I said, oh my gosh, Kathy, you got to send me your profile picture. She's like, absolutely not. No, I don't take profile pictures. I said, we were on a Zoom call like this, just a private Zoom call, just her and I. And I said, well, this is just a phone call, this Zoom call. Would you be willing for me to, I would love for you to share your story and just do a Zoom call just like this, just you and me. And then we'll put it on my YouTube channel. We'll be able to share it with others. And then all these other women who have had autoimmune disorder from breast implants, they'll see the possibility that you got, and they'll also see in the video how, wow, this is not Photoshop. This is really what you look like, because you can't, just like right now, I can't alter the way I look. I can't do anything. It's like not video editing. This is a live video that's broadcasting on YouTube and on Zoom. So she said, absolutely, no problem. I'd love to. So we did that. You can find that on my YouTube channel. By the time that was done, she watched it. She said, you know what, here's my profile picture. I will send that to you. So that's why I have a profile picture. But you can see, I don't know, you can't say, we don't have what she looked like because she would not take a picture of her face before. But you can clearly see she doesn't look like she's a 63-year-old woman. She clearly looks at least 20, 25 years younger. So you get both. And again, this is cellular repair inside and outside of the body. It's very comprehensive. This is my story. I'm only going to spend 3 seconds on this. I had a traumatic brain injury, neck injury, back injury, and leg injury. Traumatic brain injury, painful beyond anything, especially the neck and the back, more so than the leg, to be honest with you. It took a year for that leg to close up, laceration from the ankle to the knee, but it caused a whole mess of my neurochemistry and biophysiology. My whole chemistry was out of whack, lost 10 pounds I couldn't afford to lose, miserable. Long story short, including I had a very big bald spot in the back, the size of my palm in the back of my head, which I no longer have. My hair, I lost 50% of my hair too. These were all the things that I had wrong before, and this is everything that's been resolved since then. I have but many podcasts and YouTube channels have interviewed me, and Facebook Lives also, where people have interviewed me. If you want to watch those, or you can also check my YouTube channel. There's a really good one with the wellness superheroes that you'll find on my channel, or you can find it on YouTube. Okay, moving on. So this is what the mother cell activation patch does. And so again, in the past, we've been able to say all sorts of great things, but right now the FDA is telling us you can't say that it resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state. We can't say that it regenerates. We can actually say that it regenerates cells, replacing damaged cells, that it restores collagen, rebuilds scar tissue. Mind you, so awesome. In less than 4 months, my bone and my leg, it went from a wavy bone and an elevated scar tissue that was purple on my right leg. It went to flat, and then it went from purple to brown to very light brown to a very, very light tan, where now it also shrunk, where it's not even 3. Now it's like not even a continuous line anymore. There's like parts that have already gone to regular skin, and it's very fainted tan. And then I have some lighter spots around it too. It's been over 1.5 years approximately. I don't know how long it'll take for it to be 100%, but I'm pretty confident at some point it'll be 100%. So it'll take however long it takes, right? So I'm still wearing the patches. This also increases your energy. It increases your sexual libido, because people who have 43% of their stem cells, they still have activated sexual libidos. These patches are bringing you into homeostasis. Everything inside of your body is being balanced. So of course, your hormones, et cetera, et cetera. So of course, increased sexual energy, libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation, your anti-inflammatories. It's going to offset some of your free radicals inside of your body. If you have pain, people in the studies showed, and we see this oftentimes. Al, I know you've patched quite a few people, so you also have experienced this too. Many people experience pain relief. 50 to 100% reduction in their pain in 3 to 4 minutes. Sometimes we just put this patch on and that gives them that effect. Other times we do, depending on the gravity of their pain. Everyone that I've had who has migraines or traumatic brain injuries, I always use the Fantastic 5 and the Ice Wave patch. Migraines, just the 39 and Ice Wave within 30 seconds to 2, no more than 3 minutes. And they always have a kind of a perplexed, dumbfounded look where they're looking out in the horizon. It's like, they're like, where did my migraine go? It's gone. Can it really work that fast? They're kind of like, and then you see that they shake their head, they move to the left, they move to the right. Some of them were not able to look left and right because it was too painful to do that because of the migraine. And now they're like, I can look left, right, I can look up, down, no pain. They're like, this is the first time. And some people have had daily migraines or 2-3 migraines in a day for years, a decade, 2 decades. And for the first time, completely pain-free. It's so exciting to be able to give somebody that relief by just introducing them and letting them know, hey, this might work for you. Improved hair growth. Hallelujah for the improved hair growth. Because my hair is, I still marvel at how soft and silky my hair is, because my hair was dry and brittle before I started on the patches, and I had a lot less hair. My hair is nice and soft and silky, and I like trip out because I'm not having to use some sort of extraordinary, crazy, expensive product on my hair, shampoo, conditioner, mask, blah, blah. No, I just use my regular organic shampoo. My hair is nice, soft. And for women, that's a big deal for us. And I would imagine for our partners, you know, the difference between running your fingers through dried brittle hair as opposed to nice silky hair is a difference too. Deeper, sounder sleep. That's one of the first things we hear in the first 24 hours. Deeper, sounder sleep. And some people in the first 24 hours who did not know, they were not aware that they had brain fog before. Oftentimes in the first 24 hours, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I had brain fog. Everything is so much brighter and clear. I slept the best I've slept in decades or years. And they're like, and my pain level is either radically down or completely gone. So that's very exciting. We do have a Veritas Concilium, which is a recommendation, a regimen. Veritas means true, Concilium plan of action. So it's using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to magnify the effects of the body. And so it's good to note that I love the rule of thumb that I tell everyone that I put on the patches. If you have pain somewhere in your body, if you have multiple pain areas of the body, pick the pain that is the worst and point to the pain and patch it. You can link the patches together, just as I have here. You see it pictured in this diagram, but you also can see it here. You see how just the clear adhesive is overlapping the white. You're keeping the integrity of the white circles because that has to touch your skin in its entirety. You can either link them together or you can encircle. Point to the pain and you're going to put the patches on the pain and around it. If you have an open wound or an open sore, or if you have stitches, you don't want to put it directly on. You want to put it right next to it and around that area. If someone had back surgery, for example, and let's say that their back surgery was right here, like between their scapula, you could put X39, X49, and it would be a circle. X39, X49, glutathione, carnosine, eon. You're making like a circle around that area where they have the worst pain. Once the pain is gone from there, probably after 30 days, then I would move the patches then to the second area of pain, if that area still exists, because oftentimes what happens is that the first spot that's targeted, the pain goes away, and then the other areas disappear, because you got to remember, you've got this rapid cellular repair where they're replacing damaged cells with brand new cells. So it's not uncommon for a lot of the other areas to have that pain disappear. Okay, next patch we're going to go through is the daughter activation patch. Does anybody have a question about the first patch? Okay, if no one has any question about that, okay, well, I'm going to go on to the bullet points for the next one. This patch is so amazing because, as you know, we are at a time in history where we have a lot of electromagnetic frequencies from cell phones, from Bluetooth devices, from desktops, laptops, iPads, notebooks, cell phones. Just dropped my cell phone, speaking of. And it's good to note that we get radiation poisoning as well as blue light toxicity from all of those electronic devices. We have no shortage of radiation poisoning that we get, and blue light toxicity from LED lights. Our computers, cell phones, etc., have blue screens on them. So you have blue light toxicity that you get from that. That causes mitochondrial dysregulation. That causes inflammation. It causes insulin resistance. Yeah, make no mistakes. Your eyes seeing that causes all that. Our kitchens, just our kitchens, our work environments, our home environments are bombarded with LED lights, fluorescent light, and halogen light, all of which cause blue light toxicity. In our kitchen, look at your refrigerator, your cappuccino maker, your hot, coffee pot, your microwave oven, your stove. All of them have LED lights. You get in your car, 100% of the gadgets and the gizmos inside your car, a train or a plane, all LED lights. That's all causing insulin resistance. It's increasing inflammation inside of the body and creating this damage to your body that we don't realize we're getting through our eyes and through our skin. Guess what? This patch, the daughter activation patch, provides radiation poisoning relief It will increase lean muscle mass. It's going to unring the bell of that damage by increasing your lean muscle mass as well, increasing bone density, muscle mass, and strength, increasing energy, increasing cardiovascular function, protects you against the EMFs, like I said before, 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, TSA scanners, mammograms. There's so many devices that cause this type of damage to the body, and this is going to unring that bell. This patch, normally the human body will use whatever you ate as your last meal. There's a certain amount of glucose that's produced, and your body will take that glucose and it'll use it as an immediate fuel source, as energy to fuel the body. Anything that's left over turns it into fat. This patch will reduce your belly fat because it'll go to use your belly fat as an immediate source of energy first. And because now you're going to have 33% more energy running through your body because you have this activation going on. The other thing is, if you have osteoporosis, because this is increasing bone density, now your osteoporosis will disappear. Thing to note, osteoporosis is not a disease. It's not a malady. It's a state of being. It's a condition. The word osteo means bone, porosis means porous. It's just describing that your bone is porous. Side note, all mammals have an increase in the porosity of their bones as they age. It's the natural progression of aging. So this is going to increase your bone density so that as the porosity, as your density increases, the porosity disappears. True story. My mother in August, she'd been on the patches for 10 months. She's still on the patches. October was her first year of being on the patches. And she fell down the stairs. She has a tri-level home and they're wooden stairs. And her family room is all porcelain tile. And she was on the third to the last step when her right ankle, she twisted it. And she's 87. She fell on her left shin. So she twisted her ankle, fell on her left shin. She had been diagnosed with osteoporosis like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Guess what? Because she's been on these patches for 10 months, she had enough cellular repair and enough increase in bone density. She did not even get so much as a hairline fracture in any bone of the body. Contrast that with my mother-in-law, my former mother-in-law. I consider her still my mother-in-law. It's my husband's mother, who's a year younger than my mom. She fell from her own feet. She tripped on a sidewalk, broke her wrist, and then had to have surgery done to put pins in her wrist. Had she been on the patches, I venture to say that she probably would have not broken her wrist. She would have gotten bruising and, everything else that goes along with an injury like that. But she at least would have been spared the breaking of bones, which is usually anyone over 70 falling down. When they fall, whether it's from their own feet or from stairs or anything, they break a hip and an arm, or a hip and a leg, or a wrist, or oftentimes it's a multiple bone fracture thing, which is really horrible and so painful. So I'm glad that my mother was spared that, thank goodness. And she remembered right after, like, she fell, my father happened to be in the family room, heard the thud. My dad works out 4 or 5 times a week, so he's pretty active. He was able to pick her up. She's light too. She's only about 100 pounds. He was able to pick her up, carry her up the stairs to the 3rd floor to her room, lay her down. And my mom remembers that I always say, point to the pain and patch it. So she took the patches that were previously on her neck bump, because that's where she's been wearing the patches. She took them all off and put them on her leg. And she felt relief from that. And then the next day I was there, because they didn't call me that night. I wish they would have. It wasn't until that Sunday afternoon that then they told me. And then I showed up with Ice Wave because she didn't have Ice Wave on her. And then we took her pain level down. We took it out altogether. Okay, so just a reminder, drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water from the time you get up till the time you go to sleep, okay? Glutathione. So we're going to go over real quickly these next 3 patches, and then we're going to wrap it up and then answer whatever questions you might have. Get back to the person that referred you to this video, to this broadcast, so that they can answer your questions. And if you want to get started, you can do that for the price of 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. Glutathione patch. We love this patch. This is very important for pain management. The glutathione, master antioxidant that your brain signals your liver to produce in your liver, And then it sends it to every muscle of the body, and every organ has glutathione, which is why it's important for pain management. Also important for eye health, important for a lot of things. This is your master detoxifier. This is what's going to help you detoxify from everything in the body. As far as your body is concerned and your immune system, when it comes to detoxification, that's what your immune system is. It's detoxifying you from any germs, virus, or bacteria that your body has been exposed to, which is pretty much incessant 24/7 because we're humans, right? This patch, 24 hours after you wear this patch, guess what? Your natural glutathione levels go up 300 to as high as 600% within the first 24 hours of wearing this patch. What does that really mean? What does that look like? So if, let's say you got started wearing the patches, you started wearing the Fantastic 5 this morning at 9 a.m. So you would wear the patches from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., you're going to remove them. Now you're matching those 12 hours of signaling with 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. The next morning at 9 a.m., that will have been a completion of 24 hours. By 9 a.m. the next morning, your glutathione levels will be 300 to 600% higher than what it was prior to you starting on the patches. And it's based on what your original blueprint was when you were in your mother's womb, which is why it's so powerful. That's why actually when Al, a year ago, August, him and I were at a medical conference in Nevada, and he had to miss that Thursday session because he had high fever, body aches, chills, nausea. And Al, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said you felt like a truck ran you over because you felt horrible. You were under the covers all day. And around 2 in the afternoon, you sent me a text saying, do you have any potions, elixirs, or anything that might help me? And you described your symptoms. And I just replied back while I was in class. I'm like, what room are you in? And at the next break at 4 o'clock, I ended up going up to his hotel room, armed with 2 bottles of water. Al? I had 2 bottles of water. And I said, you got to drink these bottles of water now. Then we checked your polarity and we reset your polarity because your polarity was actually stuck. And then we sway tested your body. And then I told you to start wearing the patches at 8 p.m., which you did with precision. And at 8 p.m., you drank another bottle of water. And by 10:18 p.m., I was shocked. You called me up. I figured I wouldn't hear from you until tomorrow because I figured you just go back to sleep after patching. And 10:18, you called me and you said, Lillian, you're not going to believe this. These patches are badass. Those were your exact same words. I was like, what? He goes, I have no symptoms. All of my symptoms are gone. I'm like, what? And then I looked at the clock and I saw that it was 10:18. And then I started questioning because I was in disbelief because I've never had anybody respond in 2 hours and 18 minutes with all of those symptoms. We don't know if he had COVID or not. He didn't get tested, but we were in Las Vegas Convention Center taking that class, and we know what his symptoms were. And he's like, I have no symptoms, no headaches, no chills, no body aches, no fever, nothing. All of it. He goes, obviously I'm still contagious, but I feel totally fine. Is that not true, Al? Yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. I didn't know that was a possibility. Now, since then, that was over a year ago. That was August of 2023. Since then, I have patched thousands of people, literally thousands of people who tested positive for COVID, and others who didn't test positive for COVID, who were just having some adenovirus, rhinovirus, any kind of flu that you can ever possibly imagine. Some never bothered to go to the doctor to find out. They just felt similar symptoms to Al. Every single one of them, within 24 hours, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. What's in that patch? Inevitably, they come back and ask. So we're not making any medical claims. I'm just reporting back the results that I've experienced with people. And you have someone who was here, who we patched. And then, of course, he immediately got started on the patches and has been wearing them ever since. So let's explain, how is this possible? So this is from a research paper. This, if you have any issues with any of the organs that I'm about to mention here, or if you have symptoms or a diagnosis or a syndrome or some type of issue that your doctor's brought you to your attention that affects any of these organs, pay close attention, because this is letting you know how powerful it is to activate glutathione. Because when you have low glutathione levels, you have the presentation of symptoms and conditions in the body. So the glutathione patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of just 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in the pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to a baseline with a statistical power of 91%. This is a direct quote from the nanoscale glutathione patches improve organ function. You can look on NIH, NLIH, you can look in PubMed, you can do your own research. There are thousands of papers not related to this company that creates these patches. And you'll find the preponderance of evidence that talks about the glutathione patches. And make no mistakes, when you take glutathione supplements orally, you get zero benefit. Why is that? Because there are enzymes in your stomach that destroy glutathione in the stomach. And that's why it's recommended that if you're going to have glutathione, you either do an injection. Most people get an IV of glutathione, but even an IV, even though it is beneficial to the body to have glutathione IV, but it only is in full strength for 7 minutes in your blood. And then after 7 minutes, it dissipates. And just 7 minutes at the 14-minute mark, if you had 500 milligrams of glutathione in your blood, at the 14-minute mark, you only have half, 250 milligrams left. And it keeps on having every 7 minutes until there's zero. The difference is that with this patch, the glutathione patch that you have, it's signaling in your body for 12 hours. So it's constant for 12 hours. This is why we have such amazing, remarkable effects, because you're signaling it for 12 hours every day. Your kidney and your liver work every single day to detox you. Now you have elevated glutathione levels that are original to your original blueprint. And now your glutathione levels are going to be 300 to as high as 600% higher than they were prior to you patching. And it'll continue to do that as long as you continue to patch on a daily basis. Does that make sense? Next, carnosine patch.
Hey, Lillian, I'm going to have to go, okay?
Okay, sounds great. We'll catch you
All
later.
right, hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
You can watch the full recording of this. This is right now, it's live on YouTube. So you can just go to damelillianwalker.com. And so you can share it with Melissa and anyone else that you have that might be interested in learning more about this. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you much.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Carnosine, my friends and gems. This master antioxidant supports and improves cardiovascular system, all things related to heart and muscle. Improves healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. I got to tell you, in my a lot of things happened in the 4th month of my wearing the patches, but I noticed also in the fourth week, the 3rd to 4th week, I noticed my memory had increased dramatically. And then after that, I started playing little memory games, memorizing like 11 digits to the right of decimal numbers of pi and of like the golden mean ratio and so forth from the Fibonacci sequencing. But I will tell you, your heart and your brain are connected. If you have a good pump, can get the oxygen and the nutrients to your brain as necessary, then you've got great brain memory, focus, and processing time. In my case, I had a traumatic brain injury. So I had brain damage from 2017. So the things that I had that were still remaining that I had not been able to correct through neurosomatics, because I repatterned the brain to release it from physical and emotional trauma. This did a full sweep cleanup, and oh my gosh, I have amazing memory now, which is such a contrast from before. And it was subtle at the beginning. It wasn't that obvious, but it has become much more obvious over time. This patch, because it does have to do with all things related to heart and muscle. It increases your strength, your stamina, and your endurance. Our athletes, peak performers love this, as well as people who are interested in reverse aging. But it does really help a lot of repair in your body. This one detoxes your brain from aluminum. Everyone here has drunk out of an aluminum can, whether it's fruit juice, beer, soda, any kind of drink or water, even wine. We've all drunk out of an aluminum can. We've all had pies that were baked in pie tins. We've all had baked potatoes or baked vegetables, baked ham, baked turkey, baked whatever kind of meat that was wrapped in aluminum foil. We've gone to events where the food was catered in aluminum trays with aluminum coverings. All of that, the food is absorbing trace amounts of aluminum. We've known for 25, almost 30 years now that aluminum is a neurocognitive declining agent. It causes dementia and Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. Doesn't benefit your brain to be exposed to bring in aluminum into the body. This is going to detox you from that. This is going to also help with a rapid restoration of any kind of wound that you might have in your body as well. Very, very powerful patch. You can see how these 5 patches work in concert with each other to take care of the primary systems of the body. Oh, by the way, remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. The last patch is the Eon patch. We have 11 patches, but these 5 take care. Again, I call them the Fantastic 5 because they fantastically take care of your primary body systems. Now, this is a master anti-inflammatory patch, just as a master anti-inflammatory patches that we talked about, glutathione and carnosine. This one is an anti-stress happy patch. This is raising your anti-neoplastins, which I'll tell you what those are in just a minute, but it also increases your DHEA, fountain of youth hormone. Not to be confused with DHA. DHA is something different. Look it up on Google. Do your research so that you understand DHEA is the fountain of youth hormone, very different from DHA. It's going to increase your natural DHEA, fountain of youth hormone. It's going to create this brain balancing of the left and the right brain hemisphere. We have another patch, SP6, which I also work because this has to do with your neurology in your body. This one takes care of the frontal lobe. But this patch takes care of your left and your right lobe. And if your brain is out of balance, and many people's brains are, guess what? It brings your brain into balance. It creates a calming effect. People have anxiety, PTSD, any of those things, high stress, frustration going on in your work environment, in your home, etc. Guess what? Your adrenals have been signaled to create cortisol and C-reactive protein. This is going to reduce the cortisol and the C-reactive protein to bring them in balance, bring your left and your right brain into balance, and now you're in homeostasis. So in the first month, a lot of people report they're calm, they're energized, but they're calm, and they're very, like everything is bright and clear. It really is an awesome, awesome patch to experience. And this combination of these 5 are pretty extraordinary. Okay. So let's tell you what anti-neoplastins are, because most people don't know what those are. So these are peptides that are found in the blood and the urine of normal, healthy people. And the research studies show that they might stimulate your immune system, and that these peptides might also prevent and keep the cancer cells from proliferating and growing in the body. In a clinical setting, we do use this as a protocol called IVIG. We use it for various cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling due to any type of infection in the body, including encephalitis, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, Parkinson's disease, and a whole myriad of other conditions. I am excited to share with you guys, I have my first person who used to, from 1998 up until December of 2022, he had all of his blood tests and he had multiple organ failure. He was disabled when he came to me, but he had tested positive for HIV since 1998. And because of that status, he was not eligible for any kind of organ transplant. Fast forward to December of 2022, he's now at his almost 1-year mark anniversary, and he had the first test that showed no presence of HIV. By January, he was so energized and feeling so great that he was able to go back to work, making 5 times the income that he did before. He now works for an oil company, and he's doing phenomenal. And so he continues to wear the patches, and he's just continuing to feel better and better and better and just very energized. So that is really quite fun and exciting to see someone experience that. And we don't
Which patches did he
use those 5. He used those 5. He used just those 5.
Just the white.
He used, yeah, he used X39, 49, glutathione, carnosine, and Eon. He wore them on his brainstem the entire time. Yeah, when he originally came to me, he was having seizures. And so I stopped his seizures the first day that he came to me. About 6 months after my having him as a patient, then that's when I had access to the patches in the beginning of the summer, the end of spring of 2022. So I started him on the patches on June 23rd, and then the rest is history. Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic, really, really exciting.
If they can't afford all 5, which would you suggest?
I would do 39, 49, and Eon.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would do those 3. And you can, on a silver pack, you can actually get 4. You can get 39, 49, Eon, and you can also get carnosine. Depending on what the person's condition is, I would either go carnosine or I would get glutathione. So, and we can help you to decide based on what either their symptoms are, what they're trying to remedy. We can help you with that. Okay. I'm going to skip over this, blue light destroys DHEA. We already talked about blue light toxicity, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You can get started for, we can't charge you $1 million, although it's worth it to pay $1 million to get your health back. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. But we know that traditional stem cell therapies, which are not allowed in the United States right now, by IV or by injection, run 8 to 11 grand per session. Through IV, et cetera. We know Dr. Stacy spent 125 grand for a stem cell therapy for her daughter, Taylor, and didn't really realize a great deal of results for her. And they had to travel out of the country to do that. However, in just a few months of her putting Taylor on the patches, first 2 months of her putting Taylor on the patches, Taylor not only did her spine straighten, because she's in a wheelchair and special needs from a brain bleed that she had, but Taylor, in addition, for the first time in her entire life, she was 15 years old, first time ever, she became verbal. And she also went from never being able to look, she was never really present before. Now she could actually look you in the eye. She could have a full conversation and express to her wants, her needs. She could joke. And she also, as a 15-year-old she started to have menstrual cycles because she did not have that before. And so all sorts of things started to improve. Really quite extraordinary. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Dr. Wholesale Pack, and then we're going to wrap it up. I really encourage you to get back to the person who referred you to this video if you have any other questions. You can, of course, always come back to me. You saw my number at the beginning of the presentation. You could always put comments below here on the YouTube channel. I always make sure that I get back to everybody. But you can basically get started for $5 to $11 a day. The fantastic 5, that would be $11 a day. You can get a gold pack for that. I'm going to share our Dr. Wholesale form. You don't see this on our website, but on the website, you just have the retail prices, because you can basically get on the site, you'll see that these are each $149, the 39 and the 49. So that's $300 for these 2. But on a Dr. Wholesale pack, instead of paying $450 for 3 of these, you would pay just $299. So you save $50 a piece. So it brings it down to $100 each. The gold pack gives you the fantastic 5. If you're willing to do 3 months in advance and you just want, you're going to be on this for the next year. So what we do is we usually start people on a gold pack. And then after the first month, it's only $499 the first month. Then it drops to $329 the second through the 12th month, and you'll get the fantastic 5. But if you're willing to buy 3 months in advance, you can get the diamond pack. And on the diamond pack, there's a special that's going to the 12th. I wrote it down here on a little card so I could remember it all. But basically, it's 12 months of the 39 patch, 6 months of the 49 patch, and then you get 1 month of glutathione, carnosine, and Eon. And then you also get 3 months of SP6, the neurology patch, which has to do with not just neurology, but your hormone system and your digestive system. So But to do that, you need to speak to the person who referred you to this video, or get back to me if I'm the person who referred you to this video. But get back to the person who referred you to this video, because then they can fill out the doctor wholesale form and they can enter it into their back office so you can get that deal. Okay. I want to make sure that you all know that you can go to startx39now.com, educational site, nothing to buy. You can read all 90 clinical studies there. You can see all 120 global patents. We're available in 81, it'll be 82 countries pretty soon here. And of course, if you want to get the to get started text, you just call this hotline number, which is manned by me. I don't have it set up to a system. We'll just text you the to get started text, which is all the questions to fill out this form, basically your shipping information and your payment information. And if you want to watch the replay of this video or share this with someone that you know might be interested in learning more about this, just visit damelillianwalker.com. It's the most recent video that was, which is right now in recording mode as we speak, right? And I also have plenty of testimonials of before and afters from people wearing the patches and doctors who I've interviewed and holistic care practitioners. Here's a little opportunity for you to get a screenshot of the bullet points of what the mother patch does. And last but not least, thank you for your time and your attention today. Do you have any questions that I might be able to answer at this time? Otherwise, we will wrap it up and let you go. Leola and Bridget, any questions?
You've been absolutely wonderful. I enjoy listening to your podcast because you explain things so differently and so thorough, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your letting me know. It makes my day. Thank you, Leola. All right. If no one has any other questions, I will let you go, my beautiful friends and gems. Again, remember to get back to the person who referred you to this video. And as always, you know, you can always refer them to this YouTube channel, damelillianwalker.com, to learn more. All right. Ciao for now.